It's Angela Profit, your event and productivity consultant. It's school time, which means we get a ton of questions from people who would like to be in the event, wedding, and hospitality industry. And I'm going to answer a couple of questions that a student asked. Why did I choose the event planning profession? Well, I wouldn't exactly say I chose it. When I first went to college, I thought I was going to be a nurse. And when I started my clinical rotations, I decided that I did not want to do that because I did not like inflicting pain on people. So I changed my major to psychology, and I'm so thankful that I did. I just wish that I would have gotten a minor, at least in business or entrepreneurship, but I didn't. My family owned a venue when I was growing up, so I was around it a little bit, but I never thought I would be in the wedding and event industry or the hospitality industry. After graduation, I worked at a morgue, an AIDS clinic, a mental hospital, and stayed in healthcare for almost 10 years. And I planned weddings at our local church for fun. And then people started to ask, just through word of mouth, because social media didn't exist, can you plan my wedding? And can you plan my wedding? I'm not Catholic, but can you plan my wedding? Then years went on, and I started to get the same dates booked and had to ask people to help me. So organically, I was growing a company and a team, but I honestly had no clue what I was doing at all until I was forced to make a decision, stay in healthcare or take an opportunity to film a television show with Kelly Pickler for her wedding. And so I stepped away from the healthcare industry, took a leap of faith. I knew I could always go back. That was over 10 years ago and really have never looked back. So I would say that the industry chose me because I know that I am here on earth to serve people and serve others, especially in events and weddings. Do I have an educational background? Absolutely. Went to UT Knoxville, did lots of practicums and internships to learn what I did not want to do, which is more important. But with business and entrepreneurship, I feel like I got an MBA going through a program called Catalyst, which taught me how to work on my business. So I'm constantly educating myself, and with the rise of technology and with me being a tech geek, I'm constantly going to conferences and teaching and speaking and learning. You never want to stop learning. How long have I worked in the industry? Almost 20 years. In January, it'll be my 19th year in doing weddings and events. And I started out doing weddings, but then that turned into anniversary parties, birthday parties, bar and bat mitzvahs, graduation parties, book launches, #1 song parties, company picnics, celebration of life. You really get involved with the family, and once they trust you to do their wedding, people just kept coming back. I keep saying at year 20, I'm completely going to retire and just teach and educate. Skills, talents, and experiences are needed to become a successful event planner. That is a loaded question. As far as skill set goes, being extremely organized and a great communicator are by far at the top of the list. Talents, it's really great for type A people, but you also have to be talented in learning how to compromise. It helps if you have a little bit of decor and design skills. You don't have to. We do planning, logistics, floor plans, as well as design, creative design based on psychology because of my background. But a lot of planners oftentimes collaborate with a designer. As far as experiences go, it's definitely a great idea to take some psychology courses as well as business courses if you're actually going to want to run your own business, which is a completely different story. There's a lot of hobbyists in the wedding and the events industry who own their own companies, which is fine. I started there too, but if you actually want to run a business, you've got to know what you're doing and understand overhead and ROI and how to actually grow a team, hire the right people, hire an accountant, get a business manager, and run an actual company. I would definitely say some internships or experiences prior to doing that would definitely be helpful, but some of these things that I've learned over the years I just had to learn them for myself. Some of these things you just can't Google, you can't go to school for. It is life experience that is going to best teach and train you. And then you're gonna be like, I never wanna do that again. What are some typical events that you have planned in the past? Well, we don't really do typical, so I'll start off with that. We only serve clients that are interested in elevating their experience during the planning process and the guest experience in terms of branding. We brand every event that we do, whether it's a wedding, a corporate event. Consistency is key. Understanding what the logos, the colors, the patterns, the text. It's just like branding a company when you're branding an event or a wedding. Several years ago, we did over 250 weddings, several events, birthday parties, anniversary parties, bar and bat mitzvahs, as well as conferences. I am very big into technology, so I get involved with a lot of events that have to do with technology and information services so that I can better help the creative community. All of our events are based on psychology and coming up with something unique for each and every client. So we never do the same thing twice. We do repurpose linens and chandeliers and things like that. I used to have a warehouse with a bunch of stuff. Then I woke up one day and decided I was tired of it and I just wanted to be a consultant. So I've traveled all around the world and spoken. We've done events on lots of private islands, Jumbie Bay, Nevis, Hawaii, Peter Island, in the Bahamas, Jamaica, Italy, Trinidad. So definitely serving destination clients, events and weddings as well. What are some challenges that I have faced while researching, planning, and coordinating these events? I could write an entire book on this. Having a positive attitude and treating people with respect no matter what is key. And I think some of the challenges with people in this industry not having a psychology background, they tend to throw people under the bus or point fingers when really communication and keeping everyone accountable, again, is key. I didn't really do a whole lot of research when I started my company because I kind of knew what I was doing. I just grew up around it. But I will say what has really helped me is staying involved in the community. I join professional organizations. I attend conferences every year. I invested in myself and my company and my team to continue to network. I also learned very quickly that I needed to surround myself with the right people, and running with the same crowd that did the same thing over and over to get a different result was not what I wanted. So as I have grown over the years, I am no longer involved in those organizations, but you just have to know when it's time to move on into bigger and better things if you want to grow. I think people get very comfortable in this industry using the same vendors, doing the same thing over and over, which to me is boring. I know it's easy and I know it's profitable and it can be profitable, but I like to challenge myself and my team. Technology and social media did not exist when I started my company. And so I would say today, get a strategy, make sure you understand what you're doing if you are starting a business in terms of branding, especially on social media. There's a ton of softwares and apps out there that can help you plan, design, and really keep your process streamlined with your clients. Set boundaries, that's for sure a challenge. Describe the most successful event that I've ever done and what made it a success. Oh my gosh, all of our events are successful, in my opinion, because we do an extremely detailed timeline for the VIPs as well as the vendors. Most of our events, weddings, have 45 plus vendors on them. We have a 30 to 50 page timeline with floor plans and seating charts. So I believe in giving people all of the information. I do not believe information is power in this specific circumstance. I will say a private destination wedding that I did for a couple that is in the public eye. I wasn't so sure about it because I'd never been to a private island before. I didn't even know that existed. And like her flowers didn't come in. So I was climbing up trees in the middle of the night on this little island, cutting things down just to kind of make something to throw it together for pictures. And she didn't care, but the flowers never made it through customs. So you really have to plan ahead when you're traveling and going to places that you're not familiar with. I would say though, one of our most successful events is a wedding that was on September 11th, about 11 years ago. It was over 400 people. It was outdoors. It wasn't supposed to rain. And guess what? It did. The sky opened up as if like a tornado was gonna come. And we were able to still get all of the guests underneath the tent for dinner, move things around, shuffle things around, coordinate with all the vendors. By the way, radios save us when we're all over the place on a large property. And we were able to pull it together. And when the dad did the toast, he's like, you know, our daughter is a Christian singer. She's been singing the Lord's Prayer all of her life. It only makes sense that she would get married on a stage because their head table for their dinner was lifted up on a stage. And so he's like, we saw the rain as God's tears and blessing their marriage. So you have to understand that you're not always in control. You cannot control the weather, and there's going to be a higher power, and you've got to cooperate and figure out a way to fix it, because when you're the planner, everybody's looking at you. Another successful event recently, which sometimes I'm like, how many years do I have to do this before I stop learning? We had a large outdoor private home wedding for over 500 guests. There were 2 tornadoes that came through during the day during our setup. We had to move the wedding an hour and a half back. Thank God for Facebook. I actually can't believe we made it through the day, like alive. We were all soaking wet. We all had to throw our shoes away, our clothes away. It was disgusting. But after the tornadoes went through, the weather was actually quite nice, and the family had an amazing time, and the bride and groom were super happy. I don't like to call things that we've experienced like what's the worst event we've ever done, because I really like to reframe and look at those as opportunities for growth. What do I believe is the greatest challenge facing event leaders in the next 10 years? Well, I would say focus, noise. It can be a very challenging industry. You've got to love people. You've got to understand you'll never make everybody happy as long as you try your hardest. Some people are absolutely insatiable. You have to remember, for every 50 clients, you're probably gonna have 2 or 3 that no matter what you do, you're not gonna make them happy. And just know it's okay to walk away. We have fired a few clients before. I don't like to do it, but I'm not going to allow someone to mistreat myself or my staff. It took me a long time to get there, to get up the nerve to actually do it, but now people respect our time so much more. I feel like things are much more easy for people these days because there is social media, there's a ton of technology out there, there's a ton of software, a ton of automation, a ton of people like myself out there sharing experiences and helping young planners and event professionals grow in the hospitality industry. So I feel like if somebody has a challenge, and as long as they find the right person to help them through it, you'll be fine. Where when I started, there wasn't really a ton of support, and a planner, a wedding planner, event planner, designer, just in the past few years has it become a really needed service. It was always a luxury service way back when, but now people are understanding that in order to have an event or have a wedding planned, designed, branded, executed, and then also having a follow-up process is really key to the overall experience. Thanks so much for watching, and if you guys have any other questions, comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'll see you next time. Bye.